Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Figure It Out Productions. The following video is part of our Quick Shoot series.
Hey guys, so I just picked up an original PS2. This is the fat model version as opposed to the slim one, although I'm sure most of you know what a PS2 looks like. I have a couple of PS2s, but I didn't have a dirty one, at least a dirty older version of one. And when I saw this at a thrift store for, I think I paid like $3 for this, because it's just the system and I have no idea if it works. I figured, what the hell, I'll go ahead, I'll pick it up, and I'll make a video on how to clean it up just for you guys. So, you can see by looking at it, there's some scuff marks on there that we can get out. There's also some dust in there. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to open it up, we're going to clean it out, and hopefully get the thing running again, and assuming it doesn't. And if it doesn't, or if it never works, you know, as per usual, like I always say, then at least you guys will see how to clean one up. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, there are a bunch of models of the fat PS2. They kept making minor revisions constantly, so when you go to the bottom to look for your screw ports, they might be slightly different depending on your version of the system. But for the most part, they're always hidden underneath these rubber feet and these little plastic feet. Now, there's going to be some on this flatter part, and then there may be some here. In this case, this PS2 has two on the side there, but none over here. Some of them, I believe, have a screw over there as well. So what I find to be easiest, the rubber feet, you just kind of go after with a fingernail and take it out, and beneath that, you'll just see a screw underneath. Now, for these flatter ones that are plastic, they're a little bit harder to get out. I find a screwdriver, particularly a flathead, you just kind of wedge it under there and then pop it up. Now, all I want you to do is go ahead and continue, remove all of those, and then take all the screws out. Okay, so now all the screws are out. A few things to note. First, you need a flat, regular Phillips head screwdriver to get those out. Pretty common, you know, size. Most likely not going to be a problem if you have a garage with any kind of tools in it. Second, the screws on this side, these two here and these two, were longer, and the two over here and the two over here were shorter. So just remember that and keep that in mind for when you're putting it back together. The other thing is, I think, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure this was the first system to have like stickers on it to, you know, that will, if they're broken, they void the warranty on the system. Now this one has never been opened, and proof of that is that the sticker is intact. In order to open the system, I'm going to have to cut the sticker there, which proves that I got into this and therefore the warranty is voided. However, the system is 12 years old now. I'm pretty sure the warranty is no longer valid, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that with no fear, especially for the $3 I paid for it. So to do that, I'm just going to try cutting it with a basically the screwdriver here, and that should do it, I would think. Okay, looks like that's good. Alright, now we can open it. And to do that, we just kind of lift up like this, and be cautious of this area, as I recall. You lift up like that, and there we are. We see the inside of the PS2. And that's why I said be cautious, because there's a ribbon there. What to do next? Well, I'm going to... it's been a while since I've been inside a PS2, and as you can see, this one is filthy. So, yeah, this obviously needs a good cleaning. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and take a look and try to figure out exactly what to do next. Okay, I apologize for that. It has been a while since I've gotten into a PS2. I don't think I opened one since, like, 2004? It's been a long time. So anyway, the next thing you're going to want to do is get this plastic lid apart. So to do that, you basically have to remove the button interface. And you just kind of lift up on this back area here and push up on the reset button and on the eject button, and that mechanism will just come right out. And then we're left with just plastic. You could also, there's a screw there that will allow you to dismantle the memory card slots, but I find that to be unnecessary since it's just plastic. So what I'm going to do now, since as you can see there's a lot of dust there and there, and since again this is all plastic, I'm going to scrub this up with soap and water and get it nice and clean, and then just put it out to dry. So I guess I'll just show you that right now. Okay, so I've gone ahead and you can see I've cleaned it off with a lot of water and soap, and it's much, much cleaner on the inside. It's much nicer. There are still some scuff marks on the outside that soap and water couldn't handle. So for that, I use a product called Mr. Clean's Magic Eraser. It's basically just like a white, foamy sandpaper-like thing. And you basically take that and just rub it against any kind of white mark. And we'll just go ahead and remove basically those little scuffs and scars. But be careful with this stuff because it's very strong. It could actually take off logos if you rubbed it right over that. So just make sure you know what you're rubbing over. And yeah, see, there you go, like something like that. It's gone. Although you guess you couldn't see it. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, plenty of lines like this. If I just rub like that, they come right out. And then you're left, of course, with a large layer of dust, but that's easy to fix. Just go ahead and rinse it off again. Okay, so you can see this is actually looking a lot better, but not perfect. But we'll address that later. For now, we're going to let the rest of the bottom side dry, and we'll bring over the main system. And we're going to try and go ahead and get to the bottom piece. Now, for that, you will again need your standard Phillips head screwdriver, because you're going to remove, there's a couple of like brass screws right here, and then there's a couple more in the back by the fan and by the power supply. You're going to have to remove those. You're also going to have to remove this expansion bay piece of plastic. Just get that out of there. Actually, you could, wash that too if you want. So yeah, go ahead and remove those brass screws. Okay, so once the screws are out, you'll be able to kind of lift off the memory card and controller slot thing, and we'll deal with that later. You can also lift up the power supply like that and just kind of slide it out of the way, and you'll reveal another screw, which you then have to remove. So I will do that very quickly here. 1 second. And then what we're going to do, once this is out, just push that up. Okay, pull that out of the way. And we're going to basically take the bottom piece of plastic off. And so for that, I kind of go up to the corner here and kind of grab this and just kind of pull up. Now be careful, you might hit some resistance on this side. If you do, odds are you haven't completely cut the sticker back there, because it not only does it go up, but it also goes down, so make sure you do that. So go ahead, lift it up. Sorry, this looks very unorganized here. Alright, and our bottom piece is off. And we'll basically put this whole mess to the side. And now we're left with, just our bottom piece, which is horridly disgusting. So I'm going to go ahead and just do exactly what I did with the top piece, which is just, soap and water, clean this up, and then go over it with Mr. Clean's Magic Eraser if I need it. Alright, doesn't that look pretty good? Nice and washed up. All the dust is out of there. I think it looks good anyway. I did not realize until now that the PS2 was kind of the Atari console design school. I mean, like, it's just two big pieces and then like a motherboard in between. Well, obviously more than a motherboard, but you get my meaning. But yeah, anyway, so this looks pretty good. So I'm just going to put this off to the side and let it dry. So what I'm going to do now is bring in the system. And there it is. There is the guts. I am not going to strip it down much further than this, but I will take off this tray. So in order to do that, there's a couple of screws. There's four, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 really tiny little screws, Phillips head screws, and I got like a really tiny Phillips head here to remove them. Okay, so once you've got those screws out, just take off this little lid part, which is pretty easy. Just lifts up like that. And well, actually, looking at it, it's pretty dusty, so I'll probably wash this as well. Soap and water, same routine. And put that off to the side. And now we can see the laser assembly, which looks pretty gross. I don't think I'm going to strip it down any further than this. Actually, I take that back. I'll take off this little... the faceplate of the PS2 comes off relatively easily, like that, and I'll wash that as well. But yeah, from there, I'll just kind of do a lot of spot cleaning. And first, I think what I'm going to do is use compressed air. This stuff's pretty amazing. And just kind of spray it in there, and you'll probably see a lot of dust fly around. So it's also a good idea to have a vacuum nearby. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't know how much of that you caught, but it was pretty gross. So I'm going to keep doing that, and I better turn on this vacuum pretty quickly, so I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so I've taken these plastic pieces and I've rinsed these down, and I have to let these dry, and I think they're looking a lot better. And so while they dry, I'm going to, again, return back to the system here. and I found something on it that I had failed to notice before, which is the how easy it is to actually remove this back piece of plastic here. Let me turn it this way. This is easier to do off camera, of course. You just kind of lift this up and take the fan out, and there you go. You're just left with this really dirty piece of plastic. So I'm going to rinse this up as well. And now that I have access to the fan, I'll go after this too, but I'll do that in a moment. Okay, so then we can go to our fan, which is really disgusting. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a Q-tip, and we're going to take Windex, or Windowline as it's known in certain parts of the world. It's just an ammonia-based cleaning agent. It's really, really helpful. I just use it in this case just because it's really good at picking up dirt. But anyway, spray some onto the end of a Q-tip there, which I've already done. And then just go in and just kind of give it a good generic cleaning. Go through each, blade and just get out as much dust as you can. And continue to do that until it's nice and clean, or at least clean enough, because it's going to start looking like mud. It's going to get really gross. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cleaned up the heatsink. You probably can't tell because it's, reflective, but trust me, it's a lot cleaner. You look at the controller boards. Those are much cleaner, much less dusty. I will go over the individual contacts, the metal points, again with Q-tips and Windex, and really get that cleaned up. But it's looking pretty good. And the fan, probably the easiest thing to tell. As you can see, there's just no dust on it. So it looks pretty good. And now we're going to deal with the disc tray. Disc tray is a little bit more difficult because it's kind of dangerous to start cleaning it. You have to eject the disc tray to get to more of the components you want to clean. Unfortunately, you can't do this manually. You can't push this tray and open it up. It will go off the rails or just break altogether. I learned that the hard way, and I had to repair it, which was kind of a pain in the ass. So, learn from my mistake. Now, here's the problem, of course. You have to plug it in, which is very dangerous since the system is all open and exposed like this. So if you are a kid, if you are under 18, do not do this without a parent. Make sure they're doing this for you, or they have, they've given you permission to do this. Seriously, don't risk it. If you're an adult, just be very careful, okay? Alright, so we take our power cord right here, and we just plug it in to the power supply. Alright? Now the O, or I guess that's an O, is, well, it, in my estimation, should mean on, but it doesn't. It means off. While I means on, so we push that, and it's got power. Okay? Now, you'll recognize the reset and the eject button. The reset button is now red, meaning the system is idle. We have to eject the tray, so we just push our eject button. Okay? And the disc tray will open. Now, we are going to immediately turn it off, like that. The system has no more power, the fan is deactivated, and disconnect the cable so that it can't draw any more power. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to begin cleaning up the disc tray. Okay, now we have a better look at it. Basically what you do here is kind of very similar to what we did before. We're going to take compressed air, we're going to spray it around in there, just get a bunch of dust out of there. And then with plastic parts such as the tray itself, you can clean that with Windex and Q-tips and just get dust out. Just be careful not to directly touch anything on the laser assembly with the Q-tip and Windex. Like I said, compressed air, that should do the trick. If you think you're that good, do some spot cleaning, and I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so I've cleaned it up, I got a lot of dust out of there, and it's nicer. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick it up, but you got to trust me on that. Clean up the tray, it's looking better. You may also want to clean up these buttons as well. There's dust around, I know on this one anyway, there's dust around the edges, so again, I'm just going to spray some Windex on a Q-tip and just kind of go around and get it clean. The other thing I'm going to do, and I'll do this now on camera, is again, take a Q-tip, get some Windex on it, and we're going to very gently clean the laser, okay? Just kind of rub it a little bit right there, then swap sides, and dry it off. That's it. And hopefully that should be enough to get it running, assuming it isn't. We know at least that it powers up. That much we got. But does it work? I don't know. I'm going to finish cleaning it up. I'll put it back together, and I guess we'll find out. Assuming all your plastic pieces that we've washed are completely dry, I mean no moisture at all, once that's happened, it is now time to put it back together. So we're going to start with putting the laser assembly back together, and just take this little piece, and as you may recall, there are those 4 little black screws. Just go ahead and put those back into place. So once those are all tightly screwed in, Next, I'm going to take this piece, and well, at least the way this one's molded, there's this big square here, then there's this little flat line, and there's like an area in between. You have to line that up with this piece here, and of course this piece here, obviously going on that side, and then it should just kind of slide right back in, just like that. And yeah, everything seems to be okay with that. And now we're going to take this piece, which this is a little bit difficult. You're going to have to probably play with this a little bit. Sorry, this is hard to do. Okay, move that out of the way. Keep the power supply out of the way. It doesn't need to be part of this at the moment. For now, you basically have to line the fan up with this. And you'll notice that the this plastic piece has a couple of holes right there. And that's to line up with the fan. And the fan has got a very short little cable, and it's partially taped together, so that helps it from moving. You more or less have to like line it up in here and basically get this outer piece kind of underneath. It's kind of hard to describe without actually just doing it. This is going to take me a few minutes to like fidget around with, but which you can see like this littler hole right there. That's going to have to go with this little piece that's poking up, and the same with the other side. And so just kind of do that until you get it in there. As you can see, I've got it back in place now. I found the easiest way was to kind of take the fan and kind of put it in underneath and then put the whole unit in together. I know that doesn't really help, but when you're playing with this, you'll be I think you'll get it. Just be kind of aware of what you're doing when you take it apart, and you'll kind of know the rhythm to put it back together. Now I'm going to take the power supply here and put that in, and that goes in really, really easily. Now, what I think I'll do is I'll take the bottom piece, which we have right here, and we have to put this back in. And I guess in order to do that, we're just going to kind of, well, put it into the unit. Put that up there. And just go in, sorry, doing this off camera, put it in like that, just kind of fit it into place, which is easier said than done, but yeah, well, I think you get the idea. Yeah, there you go, basically there's the idea. And then just kind of fidget with it until it's like back into place. So I have it back in the shell now. A couple of mistakes I made, and I want you to be aware of this. When it comes to this tray piece, I accidentally, apparently, must have broken the plastic off the side, although I haven't yet to find a little plastic piece anywhere. So mine doesn't hold as well as it probably should. So I guess be very careful when you're taking that off, or just don't take it off altogether. That's entirely your choice. But it still holds on there, and it works just fine. Or, well, at least for its purposes so far. Also, I made a mistake. Don't put this power supply back in just yet, because the next phase, other than, well, I guess I didn't show you this, your controller boards, slide the ribbon cable in underneath, and then just kind of sit it on there. It's really easy to get that on there. Now what we're going to do is take some screws, and the first one you're going to do is put right back there where the power supply goes, tighten that up, and then there's two that go right here next to the controller slots, and then there's one that goes right there in between. Well, I can't reach it right now on camera, but it's in between the fan and this thing, and then another one that goes right down in there. So put all those in, tighten them up, and then put this in. Okay, I have those parts back together, and it's holding pretty well. So now it's time to put the lid back on. So we'll move this over to the side, and so first what we have to do is we have to get this cable back on. I find the easiest way to do this is you have to remember that this part will ultimately have to be on the bottom here. So I feel putting it upside down like this is the easiest way to do it. And you kind of have to, this is a little bit of a, it's a little tricky, but you basically have to wrap it around underneath here and just kind of fit it into place, which is much easier said than done. And I think I've just about got it. Yeah, there we go. Back in place, just like that. And then we flip this over, and then we kind of fit, remember there's the slot there, so you want to fit that over a little bit, over the CD tray there, and then just, check around the back, make sure everything's fitting together correctly, and put it back together. And here we go. Now it's back in one piece. Now, don't forget about the expansion bay cover. I'm going to put that in right now. Well, okay, fell apart, but that's because there's no screws in it yet. So now it's back in one piece again. So we'll take the expansion bay piece, put that in, and then put it over on its back like this. And then we're going to screw it, put the screws back in. Now remember that these 4 little screws, yeah, you can see them, they go right here on these 2 ports and these 2. And then the bigger ones go in those 4 points on this side. So now I have all the screws in place, and it's time to put these little rubber feet back in place. Now you'll have to separate them because there's going to be hard plastic ones and there's going to be rubber ones. And I should have done that beforehand, but I didn't. So let me just do that very quickly here. And okay, so the rubber ones go in the following places. Well, in the corners. I guess that should have been obvious. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, there are different versions of the PS2, the fat model, and the screw ports change, and maybe the innards will have changed a little bit, but basically it'll always be the same thing, and I'm sure you'll figure it out. Put those back in. Figures the last 2 would be the hardest. Okay, and there they go. Okay, now, look at that. Looks pretty good. See, all that dust is gone. Looks nice. It's not perfect. It could be better. And what the hell? Let's make it better. So what I usually do for this phase is I take Pledge. I used to use WD-40. I don't do that anymore. Now I use Pledge. And basically all you do is just spray some on a paper towel like that, and then just rub it around and bring out like a nice shiny coat to the system. Now, obviously, I got some in the cracks there. I'll have to clean that out, but that's really not a big deal. And then just kind of do that all around the system. Obviously, the PS2 is a little bit more difficult to do that because of all the grids. I might suggest using Q-tips with some Pledge on it. And so just do that and make it nice and shiny and new again. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I've cleaned it up completely, and I think it looks pretty damn good. I think it cleaned up really well. Not perfect, but what can you expect? I only paid a couple of dollars for it. And, of course, that's not the big question. You know, cleaning it is good, but does it work? I don't know. I think it's time, guys. I think it's time to find out if this PS2 that I bought for only a few dollars is now fully functional. So I've got the PS2 all set up here. We see that it's got power, but it's not on. I've also got 2 games here, which I'll explain in a moment to see if they work. Well, first, let's turn it on and see what our reaction is. And obviously those lights work. And alright, that's a good sign. And we see that screen. Now you guys have to remember, I never tested this thing, so I have no idea what it's going to do. Well, controllers work, so that's good. Obviously it powers up and the operating system works. No data, but I wouldn't expect there to be. There's no games in there. So, okay, well the eject tray does work, even if it sounds a little funky. Okay, so the reason I'm putting this game in, well, I have 2 games. This is on a blue CD, and the reason for that is the PS2 had some games on DVDs. Most of their games were on DVDs, but a few were actually on CDs. So this is one of the CD games. It's one of the few that I have. And if it can't read this, it's simply not going to work. Okay, that's good. It read the disc. People probably don't know this. The PS2 has 2 lasers, even though you only saw one. There's one beneath that, and it looks like it's reading the game. A PS2 can be capable of reading one of these CD games with no problem and still not be able to read DVD games. So it looks like it's working. It's at least reading CD games, but that is more common, that it would be able to read CD games, and it may still not be able to read the DVD games. However, if it reads CD games, okay, hang on a second. If it reads CD games, which it just did, that means it'll read your PS1 games, and it'll read your music CDs, and so forth. But that doesn't mean it'll play DVDs, it doesn't mean it'll play DVD games. Now this is a DVD game. This is Twisted Metal Black, which is my personal favorite game on the PS2. If it reads this, then we're good. But I don't know if it's going to, because, again, I only paid a couple dollars for it, so it wouldn't really surprise me if it didn't. But, well, that's a good sign. And maybe, yes, or is it going to give me some? Oh, no, that's also a good sign as well. Maybe I hear it spinning. That's always good. And I don't see anything though. It's so suspenseful. Aren't you guys just on the edge of your seats? Ooh, that's good. That's well, I know there's no memory card in there. But yeah, guys, it's working. And I bought this. Yeah, yeah. Well, okay, good. The game is working. That makes me very happy. I'll just eject it now. Yes, yes. I know you're gonna stall because you have no disc in you. Well, that makes me really happy because okay, enough. Off. That makes me really happy because I bought this for only a couple of dollars, and when I bought it, it was in really rough shape, and I don't even think it would have worked. It looked like it probably just would have like overheated, and especially with all that dust that we found inside. So the laser was also really dirty. I could tell. So it probably never worked, or at least it didn't work when I got it. So that just goes to show you how good it is to clean these things, because you may burn out the laser because it's dirty, and if you clean it periodically, then it'll last longer, or may even start working again altogether. So there you go, guys. I hope you learned how to clean a PS2, and thanks for watching.